What's up, everybody? So this video is going to be a little different. Ever since I started covering Convicting a Murderer and Making a Murderer together, reviewing Daily Wire Plus's Convicting a Murderer, there has been a ton of new people to the channel and a ton of comments on those particular videos. Everything I've talked about with Convicting a Murderer and Making a Murderer, there is a ton of comments. There are thousands of comments over those videos when you add them all together. And what I want to do is I want to pick out all of the comments from the Convicting a Murderer side of things, from the people that are on the channel, and welcome to the channel, by the way. I love hearing your point of view, the negativity, the shots. I don't care at all. Let's go. I actually love it. I love seeing people get so invested in what they believe, and it's very cool to see, but some of the comments are directed at me. I don't care at all. I think it's great. The engagement on the videos is amazing because of all of these people. So let's go, keep going. Let's see those comments. So what I did is I went back and I picked out some of the most recent comments from the Convicting a Murderer side of things. And we're going to talk about them here, and I will put them up on the screen for you. And I'm going to do this moving forward. If everything keeps progressing the way that it has been and growing the way it has been, there should be more comments like this coming. I hope. Let's go. So the first comment, and I'm going to put, like I said, I'm going to put them all up on the screen for you. The first one states, "You are mistaken. The Daily Wire peeps aren't afraid of anything. Like you said, you don't know anything about them. Would you like some whipped cream with your humble pie?" I asked, in this particular video, I asked if they were scared of truthers because the Convicting a Murderer producer, Brenda, is blocking people from the truthers side of things on Twitter. She doesn't want to hear what any of them have to say. That's where that particular comment comes from. So, are they scared, or why is she blocking people on Twitter if the Convicting a Murderer producer isn't scared of the truth or isn't scared of that version of the story? She wants everybody to listen to her version of the story. So yeah, I think Brenda is a little bit scared of all of the comments she's getting from truthers, and that's why she is blocking them. As far as whipped cream with my humble pie, what kind of pie are we talking about? I'm a fan of Cool Whip though, not necessarily whipped cream. I don't know if Cool Whip is a thing in the United States, but up here in Canada, we have something called Cool Whip, and it is delicious. And what kind of pie are we talking? Apple pie. It's getting to be like fall, so maybe pumpkin pie. That's a big thing this time of the year. Cherry pie. Woo! I don't know. I do like pie. I do like Cool Whip with my pie. So let's go. Yes, I want some Cool Whip with my humble pie. This next one states, "You can't say someone on a podcast that's speaking off the cuff who gets somebody's age wrong is ignorant. There is no fact checking in real time or editing. She's just having a conversation. Anything in the actual show wasn't fact checked because that is just ridiculous." Okay. She's speaking off the cuff, so let's take that podcast out of things. She put up the very first video she put up on her own channel, on her own podcast, on her own everything, was full of inaccurate information. She stated that Stephen Avery was in prison wrongfully the first time for murder. That is wrong. That wasn't speaking off the cuff. That was her very first advertisement for the show. This one states, "They don't call out the first show for making money. They call out for how dishonest it was in its narrative." Again, wrong. Candace Owens states a zillion times that Netflix made millions of dollars off Making a Murderer, which is likely true. But Daily Wire Plus is trying to do the exact same thing with Convicting a Murderer. And they absolutely should. They bought it. They should try and make as much money as they can off the series. So, yes, they absolutely do call out the first show for making money. Candace Owens has stated a million times. You clearly have not watched the first 5 episodes, because she probably says it in all of them, that Netflix made millions of dollars off Making a Murderer. The next one, 608. Now, this is a narrative. This isn't necessarily a negative comment. This is a question, a narrative that I get asked all of the time. Wow, I had no idea. This is big news to me that Candace Owens / Daily Wire only purchased the series and did not originally create it. Candace Owens and Daily Wire had absolutely nothing to do with the creation of Convicting a Murderer. It was created by Sean Reck and his team. He is the creator and the driving force behind the series. Daily Wire Plus only bought the series and then inserted Candace Owens as the host. They went back and filmed a bunch of stuff with Candace Owens and then inserted that footage into the stuff that was already filmed. It was done years before the Daily Wire Plus, Daily Wire and Candace Owens came along. How can she have information wrong? She has the same info as Making a Murderer. She just plays the whole video transcript or testimony that Making a Murderer clearly edited to make Stephen look innocent. Heck, even Stephen's own family is coming out saying that Stephen and Brendan did it. Now, that's a great question. I don't know how she can still be getting information wrong, but she is. They have got a lot of information wrong, and they have left a lot of stuff out of Convicting a Murderer. They're just telling their version of the story, and some of the times they are only telling part of the story, part of the truth, part of what the other part of what Making a Murderer left out. And a lot of the times, it doesn't even change anything. When they air the whole clip, when they show the whole story, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't even direct stuff to the narrative of the story that they are telling. But it is a great question. I don't know how he's stating I'm wrong by saying Candace Owens has wrong information. I don't know how she can have wrong information either, but she does all of the time. I love this one. This one's great. Who that's talking about the truthers on the video? I asked, is the Daily Wire scared of people? Who would be scared of a bunch of terminally online virgins? I don't know. This person is commenting on the video, so maybe they're one of the terminally online virgins. I don't know, but I love that. Now, this guy comments all the time. Come on, get real, Scott, which isn't my name. I totally get why people think my name is Scott, but my name is not Scott, and that's totally fine. Just the other day, you misspoke, and a commenter corrected you. Mistakes happen. To split hairs about insignificant mistakes and avoid the evidence is ridiculous. Try dealing with what Convicting a Murderer is bringing to the table. Like Avery lying about Teresa ever showing up. Like Avery set up the appointment under false pretenses and then is the last person to interact with Teresa. Try dealing with that! Exclamation point. Well, I don't know what I misspoke about, but you're probably right. I misspeak all of the time. I am not a professional at this. I'm not getting paid millions and millions of dollars like Candace Owens. I'm just a guy in his office talking to a video camera because a bunch of people seemingly like to watch me talk to my video camera. I don't know. I am not a professional. I'm just some dude talking to a camera with a Batman sign next to him and a bunch of wrestling DVDs over here and belts over there. I don't know. That's probably why I misspoke, because I'm not a pro. I don't pretend to be a pro, and I will probably never be a professional at this, but I have fun doing it. I love interacting with people. I love talking to people. So if you can say what I misspoke about, I would love to know, because I will be like, okay, this is what I said wrong. I have no idea what he's talking about, but I definitely believe him, because I probably misspeak all of the time. I don't hide it. Like I said, I can barely string a sentence together without having to like cut and edit stuff back in to make my sentences complete. This next one states, I would think the question you get asked the most is, why do you keep saying Twitter? It's called X. I don't know. This person comments this almost every day, every other day. Probably because it's been called Twitter for more than a decade, and it's been called X for like 20 minutes. That's probably why I call it Twitter. So it states this person, I think this person also follows me on Twitter. So Sean Reck said Candace supposedly watched the entire original show and then made them reformat a lot of it. I have no idea if this is true or not. I would love to see where Sean Reck said that. If you could provide a link to me to that video, do it on Twitter so I will see it for sure. It's at allegedly a show. Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's very interesting if that is true. This next one, you don't need to tell us you're in Canada with the amount of times you said a boot. Now, I don't actually hear it, obviously, because it's how I talk every day. But I think I say about, not a boot. About. Is that saying a boot? There's a difference there, right? About, a boot. Sounds different to me. I get told a lot that I sound like Ross from Friends. And I get told a lot I look like Adam Sandler. That's the running joke, like where I live. I sound like Ross from Friends and look like Adam Sandler. I hear that all of the time. I don't hear it or see it, but people tell me quite frequently. This one states, I'll wait to see all of the episodes before saying he's guilty, but I am appalled of the editing of Making a Murderer. You should also be appalled of the stuff that Convicting a Murderer is also leaving out, or just brushing over, or only telling half the story as well. Your analysis is wrong because it's based on a guilty premise. Why would you assume that conservative and or Candace's audience hasn't been watching Making a Murderer or know about Stephen Avery? And why would you assume that Convicting a Murderer is addressing a whole new audience? Do you actually believe that Candace / the Daily Wire's followers are the only ones watching the new series? Your conclusion cannot possibly be correct because it was based on a daily premise. Sorry, better luck next time. I wanted to hear your thoughts, but after you showed your ignorance, I love it, I couldn't pay attention, even for such a short video. Ooh! Got me where it hurts. I absolutely believe that Daily Wire is bringing a whole new audience of people that had never seen or Making a Murderer or heard of Stephen Avery before. You can just go through the comments on Twitter or my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is not that big. So I'm sure that the YouTube channels of way more popular people than myself that are covering this are getting similar things. There's a whole bunch of people saying that they discovered this case through the Daily Wire because of Candace Owens and such, which I think is great because it's bringing more people to watch Making a Murderer on Netflix as well, because it was trending again the other day. Your analysis is wrong because it's based on a guilty premise. Why would you assume? Why would I assume? Because Candace Owens has her own audience. She is tremendously popular with the conservative right-wing people. I don't live in the United States. I don't really follow that conservative right-wing narrative very much. I'm pretty open and honest about that. That's just not my thing. But she is tremendously popular with that section of the audience. I would hope the goal was to get a whole whack of people that didn't watch or know about it before to tune in. That's how they're going to make their money. That's a strange comment. But the end of it was pretty funny. The next one, you obviously don't pay attention. The insurance company's pulled out. I assumed that the insurance company paid the $400K. If they didn't pay the $400K that Stephen Avery got, who paid the $400K? Please correct me, because if I'm wrong, I will fully admit that I'm wrong, but I did think that the insurance company paid the $400K. If they didn't, where'd that money come from? Let me know, please. This person comments fairly often as well. I don't know how you all believe Stephen didn't do this. Chasing tails, trying to make sense of how the cops did it. In the meantime, everything points to Stephen. I mean, that person, I don't know where that person is getting that narrative from me. I've never really believed that the police committed the crime. Do I believe they could have had something to do with covering it up? Absolutely. But do I think they killed Teresa Halbach? Absolutely not. I've never been one to believe that narrative. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they're just talking about stuff that they see other places, maybe? I don't know. But that's not one I believe. And that's the last one we're going to go over here today. So I'm definitely going to do this again. I'm going to keep better track. I just went back through the last couple of videos and took out a bunch of comments and talked about them. But what do you think? What do you think of some of those comments, questions? This was pretty fun. I loved reading that stuff. I'm definitely going to do it again. What do you think? Leave some comments below. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you again soon.